Hi, I got 2 new molds, so I thought I would do a mold review and at the same time go over basic blooms. I am using J. Diction High Gloss Resin. It's a 1-to-1. I consider it a little bit more than a low viscosity, almost bordering on medium. I do like it for blooms. It seems to work really well. So that's why we're using it today. I have mixed up 5 ounces of resin. I'm not exactly sure how much resin these will take. This is a flower-shaped mold. And it is cool that it comes with these covers because then you could store them with it on. So that is a cool aspect of it. I will tell you, I don't like how thin this is, and there are some wavy marks on it. I have not put this in my Amazon storefront because I'm not sure how I feel about it. Same with this one. I like this one a little bit better. Again, angel wings. It's a thicker mold. So that means I can put a back on it. This one I am not going to be able to back unless I somehow dome it because it's going to need it. The depth is almost perfect for blooms. So that's where I stand with these 2 molds. I'll know more after we do something with them, whether I like them or not. And I picked these 2 for basic blooms because they're 2 different shapes to show you what you can get. One thing with blooms is you have to let your resin warm up, and this is at 30 degrees Celsius, 86 degrees Fahrenheit. You can get like really, I'd go up to 35 degrees Celsius for warmth. I'm starting a little sooner because I'm talking a lot. So first I'm going to pour about 1 ounce in this cup. And that's going to be used for my white. And then I'm going to pour them into my molds. Like I said about this one, it's basically just the depth of a bloom. And then this one. And you just want to pour a very thin layer, not too thin. If it's super thin, your white will kind of spread. If it's too thick, your white may drop. So there is a sort of a fine thing to doing it. And the depth of this mold is actually perfect for blooms. So that is a positive thing. So we'll see how that works. The resin has warmed up, so it is moving a little bit slowly into the molds. So let's go ahead while we're waiting for it to move into the molds, mix up our white. I'm using Casting Craft Opaque Pigment Concentrate today, only because it's very easy for everybody to get and it's inexpensive. You can use white paste, you can use white alcohol ink, Julie Cutts has a really fabulous product called Bloom. So I haven't found anything that is white that you can't do it with yet. The thinner the white product, the more you have to use. The thicker the white product, like a paste, the less you have to use. This is 1 ounce, and I'm going to add 8 drops of Casting Craft. Now, I did play with my bottle, so it is a little bit more open than other bottles. So I may be getting bigger drops. So the key is to stir your resin. Look at it. Put the least amount that you think will work, and then mix, look at it, and then say, do I want more? Make sure you mix it till you see no white lines. And this honestly looks pretty good. Let me look at it a little closer in front of my face. So it's a white, but not a super bright, opaque white. When you hold your stick up, you should be able to see the stick rather quickly. If you can't, you've gone too far. If you see your stick right away, you haven't gone far enough. Give it another mix again. All right, so this is slowly filling this mold. Do I want to put, yeah, I'm going to put just a tiny bit more resin, and honestly, that's all this mold will fit before it starts going over the edge, because we still have the white to add, we still have colors to add. So I am kind of at the worry point for this one. It may be better for just colored projects, you know, make a flower using mica powder or something like that, because the depth is just not very good. All right, so I'm gonna actually push it a little to get it moving and let it even out for a second. while it's doing that, I'm going to go ahead and put my alcohol inks in the other one. I'm using Ranger inks today. These are alcohol inks. You can use resin inks, thin resin inks. They tend to last longer than alcohol inks. Alcohol inks just tend to flow better. Just remember 6% of anything is what you can add to resin, but you want to stay below that to risk any curing. If you use a lot of alcohol ink, say this thin mold, and I put a lot here, the back may still be tacky because I'm not going to be able to back it. I'm not going to be able to cover my alcohol ink. So you just have to use a little caution. This one we are going to back, so I'm not too worried about my alcohol inks. So that's it. Let's Resin makes a good brand. Octopus Fluids makes a good brand. I like Ranger inks. I use them a lot. I generally like to put my light color in the center. I'm going to stand up for the rest of this just to find the center. So I am using Gumball in the center. I also don't generally like big centers on blooms. I know a lot of people do, but I just don't. And I like to try to draw my center versus putting some bits in that kind of cover it up. But we're going to do both. The next one I have is Boysenberry. You can see, like I call it fingers, where the alcohol ink is kind of struggling to spread. That's because our alcohol ink is trying to move through thick resin. As your resin warms up, it gets kind of thicker. There are alcohol inks. Decorum makes one that I like to use that move better through this. Wait 1 second, I want to show you. So these are heavy ink based, less alcohol. So I just bought a new set of the Decorum ones because I had them for a long time. So I do need to pop this one open, and I do cut them open with scissors versus the little pin. I find that the little pin, sometimes if it's off kilter, your ink goes different directions. It's just simple for me to cut them open. All right, so now I'm going to show you what the Decorum does. It is a higher alcohol content. And you see how it's quickly just spreading. It's still struggling because we have a lot of resin in here, and you can see it's also fingering, but it is spreading. All right, so that's all I'm going to do with alcohol inks. And like I said, this is the second batch that I bought with them, so I do like them. Especially when my resin is thick. All right. So I like to use a piping bag. It's just easier to control. If you can pour out of a cup, well, do that. Then you don't have to buy piping bags. I just do better with piping bags. I just cut a little tip off that. I don't know if you can see it. Let's do the easy one first. So for this one, I'm going to do easy blooms. I'm just going to do spiral. You want it thick enough that it can bloom, but not so heavy in a spot that it's going to drop. If you see a design and there's like a white spot, that just means there was a lot of alcohol. I mean, a lot of white in that spot. And that's what causes it. And some of the designs where you pick up the piping bag and start over again, that tends to happen. Like I'm going to show you here. So when I start again, I might have created a heavy spot. Anytime you pick up and start again. All right, so for this one, we are going to go with the shape of the mold. And I'm just doing sharp, but you can do it any way that you want. And now I'm just going to flow. So where I did those sharp corners are where I could have a buildup and a drop. A blobby is what I call them. A lot of people call them blobbies, because those were spots where I dropped more white. Slowly it gets to where I can't really go in. And I just keep going. All right. So you can already see the white is spreading. It's doing what it's supposed to do. Let's go into this one and draw. I'm, for today, just going to draw straight lines. You can wiggle them. You can just do anything you want. This is a simple bloom. Now, because it's small, I'm only going to go into the center once. And I think this is the last one I want to do. So when I draw my centers, I take my last one in and do one swirl. No more than that. If you swirl it too much, it dilutes your white, your center gets bigger, you don't want that. Now, I don't want to go into the center again after I did my swirl, so with these, I'll just take them in, but not all the way. Now, you also can do outies. I'm going to go a little bit less and pull that up. Now, some people will go all the way out. I don't like to do that anywhere. When I first learned, that's what I was doing. Now I just take it till there's a tiny little tip. I think it looks a little bit more natural than going straight through. These are all my opinions, though. All right, so that one's done. Now this one, I'm basically going to do the same thing, but I'm going to go with the mold. So where it points out, I'm going to go out. And again, I'm not going to pull it hard out. I'm just going to lightly touch where the out is. I'm going to try to start from what I think the center of the pour is. All right, now I'm going to start doing my ends. And I am going to go all the way in. And then this is my last in. So I'm going to go in and spiral as best as I can where I think the center is. I'm going to leave it at this, but you have choices still to do. If you wanted, you could draw white lines in these spaces between, and that will make it so that there's a bloom in between there. You know what? Let me show you what I'm talking about. So where these come together, just like little commas, rather than having the petals be so separate from the design. All right, so that's it for that one. I think for my example of bits, I'm going to use it on this one. And I am just going to grab a little in here in my little scoopy. And I'm going to take it to where I think the center is and drop it. Now, because I'm not going to be able to do another layer on this, I'm going to have to make sure they get covered. So I will keep an eye. I'm pressing down the center so that the resin will go into it. And I'll just keep an eye to make sure it gets completely covered with resin. If it doesn't, I'll try to pull some resin in. That's it. This one we're going to come back to back. This one will come back when it's ready to unmold. And we'll see if my sharp edges got a blobby, how everything came together. We'll be back. All right, we're back. It's been about 4 hours. So I think this is hard enough for us to back. It is kind of small, so it takes a little bit longer to set up. Since I'm doing a different color back, I could have waited until it was completely hard to do this. But I wanted to finish it up, so here we are. The other one we're not going to back. Like I said, it's just too thin. So I mixed up, how much did I mix up? 4 ounces of resin. I actually am going to work use it on another pour that I have sitting next to me. I have more resin than I need for this. I did let it warm up to 34 degrees Celsius, 93 degrees Fahrenheit. I do, for the crackle effect, prefer like a thick viscosity resin. That's what we're doing for the back of this. If you don't have a thick viscosity resin, a medium or even a low, if you let it warm up a bunch, may work. So, got the resin already. You generally want more transparent than you want mica powder. I usually do it at about a 2-to-1 ratio. These are a little different because I don't care what the middles look like. You aren't going to see the middle. You're just going to see the sides. So I do handle these a little different. This one's going to be my transparent because there is a little more in there. I'm just going to use the matching alcohol ink for this. You could use whatever you want. You could do clear if you wanted. I'm going to add, let's do 15. Alcohol inks don't cover as well. They don't color as bright, so it takes more. Oh, I have to tell you, this one looks really nice. It does look bright in the cup. Normally it doesn't. That's almost like a resin ink. The coloring it did. Wow. That's amazing. All right. And I have a new mica powder to try out. With blooms, you generally want something dark to back them. Black paste always works wonderfully because you can see the petals of your bloom easily. Most dark pastes work well. Mica powders will sometimes compete with your petals of your bloom. So that's when it starts getting a little trickier. Just remember, if you go dark, you're pretty much always safe. It's when you start going lighter, it gets harder. I decided to go with this new mica powder I've got. Sorry, the dog. Dark Ube, however you want to say that. Hey, Esmeralda, no. And I'm going to take a pretty good, try not to dump it everywhere, pretty good clip of it. Sorry about that. Someone is delivering something on the porch. So that means the dogs will go nuts. Hey! All right, now I'm going to give it a good mix up. When your resin thickens or you're working with thick resin, it does take a little bit more work to mix things in. All right, so let's see what this looks like. It's a very, very deep purple black color. It's gorgeous. If you are interested in eye candy, I do have a coupon in my description. They don't go on sale a lot, and I never pay full price for anything. That's why I always point those out. Check out the coupons. All right, so I'm going to stand up for this next part. I hope my pour is hard enough that we can do this rather well. So I'm going to pour a lot of transparent down. And then I'm going to take my mica powder and flush it out with that. And I have a tiny bit of room left, and I'm going to do a little bit more mica powder. Like I said, that center piece doesn't matter because you're not going to see it behind the bloom. I poured it a little off to the side, but that's okay. It'll look fine. I'm saving these for my other project. That's all there is to it. The transparent and the mica powder work together. If it's thick enough, the mica powder has to sort of find its little channels its way through, and that's what creates it. We'll be back. All right, so we're back to see how this worked out. Here's the thin one. We'll see what it looks like. This is the one that I was afraid I might have poured white too heavy in some spots, and you guys will be able to see if that's the case. Oh no, there's a few spots where I went off the rails just a little, but otherwise it's really, really pretty. I just wish that there was room to back it, so I'm not sure about this mold. Pretty bloom though. All right, this other one that we did back. We'll be able to tell the big difference between the two. All right. Oh, wow, look at that. Isn't that pretty? My color might have been off for the outside, that mica powder, but it looks pretty. Oh, did I show you the crackle? Can you see the crackle in it? It's very dark, so it might be a little hard to see. And this is the one where we didn't put a center, and this is what the center looks like. So I really like ones where I don't put the centers. All right, well, thank you for watching. If you have questions, please ask.